met him in New York once.
If only there were more. More determination.
I know I can count on you. I wish I could say the same. ain't you! He's dead!
Get away from me! Disgusting air! Damn strangers!
This is Braille. I need someone who can read this.
What? What happened? Who are you?
It's all right, sir. You're safe now.
Oh, a fellow Englishman. Thank you, sir. For a moment, I thought those bloody heathens had killed me.
What are you doing here? This place is not safe.
Yeah, it's a cesspool, but it's mine. I came to collect some overdue rent, but those who still live here have gone completely bonkers.
You're very lucky to be alive.
Yeah, filthy immigrants. Fucking savages, every one of them. And now with this bloody fever, they're just animals.
You can find safety of sorts in Whitechapel. If you're quick and cautious, you'll be able to avoid the savages. Good evening. I'm Dr. Reed.
Always a pleasure to meet a colleague, sir. Especially when he was supposedly dead.
A colleague. Are you a doctor too?
Not anymore, sir. I used to be Dr. Rakesh Chadana. Now, I'm just Mr. Chadana, pawnbroker and humble guardian of this morgue.
What do you mean, you used to be a doctor? Was your license revoked?
No, sir. It is just that I like to be precise. I run a little pawn shop while taking care of the dead. But I used to be a real doctor.
Are you afraid or uneasy being surrounded by so many corpses?
Why should I? These bodies are empty vessels. Flesh left to decay. Poof. No soul anymore. All gone.
An interesting point of view. And quite an exotic one, too. Most people fear, or at least have a respect, for dead flesh.
Sir, as a medic during the war, I learned to face my death and the death of others. It's the pain we have to tame, not death itself.
How did you get this job?
After I left the army, I worked as an undertaker down by the docks. A dangerous place with many an unpleasant business there. Milton Hooks helped me get a job here.
Do you work here alone?
Yes, very easy work, sir. All I have to do is watch a few bodies. The situation was very different when the main morgue was still open.
Why close the hospital's main morgue?
It was for sanitary reasons after the beginning of the epidemic. Cadavers had to be moved to the nearest mass grave.
Why do you have to watch these bodies?
Because these poor fellows have no names. We keep them in case someone comes looking for the missing. Sadly, very rarely happens.
Have we met before?
I don't think so, sir. Why?
When we first talked, you said you were glad to meet me since I was reported dead.
Funny story, sir. Your sister came here a few nights ago. You were missing, and she was looking for your body. She must be very relieved now.
A pawnbroker? I expect you get all types of people here.
Yes, sir. All kind of people. For I sell all kind of goods.
What kind of goods?
With the quarantine, it's not always easy to buy things. So I trade. I exchange. Some people sell, some others buy. I like to help.
Who comes here to trade with you? It's very unhygienic, even unsafe. Diseases can spread. For the customers, for the hospital.
I'm very cautious, sir. I've been a doctor, remember? And all my clients are good people. In fact, I think I only know good people.
Since you're not afraid of dying, do you believe in life after death, Rakesh?
No. I believe we must do all the good we can while alive. For our time is short, and the obstacles are endless.
Do you think you would enjoy immortality as a concept?
I don't think so. Don't mistake me. I love life, and I'd like to live a long life. But everything has to decay, sir. Even goodwill.
So you're ready to die?
No, I am not. I don't fear death, for I won't see it. What troubles me is the pain my death will inflict to those I know.
You're a wise man, Mr. Chidana.
No, Dr. Reed. I am a foolish man. But I like to think otherwise.
Do you really believe goodwill cannot last?
As I said, sir, everything decays. If I was to never die, goodness, I would be bored or worse. And I like to be helpful, sir.
Quite depressing, wouldn't you say?
Yes, but the good news is we'll all die before losing our humanity, sir.
Please show me what you have to sell.
Of course. It's just trinkets and curios, really. But I'm sure they can be useful. It never ceases to amaze me how you, the dead, seem peaceful and...
Scowl voices in the garden. I should investigate. If they were to find somebody. Mr. Hooks and Nurse Hawkins are an item. Those two have hidden their affections well. Balls of Mars. Fortifiers. As popular as they are ineffective. But they do contain iron tartrate, and that might prove itself useful. Behavior is similar to the infected William Bishop. Must be the same strain. This sickness moves faster than influenza. This key will surely grant me access to the basement. These scowls feed from corpses and the husks of animals. Not after blood. Mr. Connor's injuries don't match the report. I'd better look into this. Traces of a pinkish foam at the corner of the lips. Some sort of drug overdose, perhaps? The chest was originally opened to perform the operation. The sutures are clean, but the chest has been reopened. Multiple abrasions and scarring on the arms and legs. Old and distinctive injuries of a sailor or a fisherman. A puncture over the left lung, possibly a chest tube insertion. Not the cleanest work, but I think it was successful. Signs of internal bleeding. So, Dr. Tippett's anesthetics were incorrectly dosed, causing the patient's death. And then, he tried to operate on him again. Tippett has made an egregious error. It's time we talked. Scowls can be so ferocious. I'm not sure I can defeat them without becoming stronger. To drink blood is so tempting.
dust on every street
Good
corner.
evening, Miss Howcroft. How are you tonight?
I need blood, Doctor. Warm, rich, vibrant blood.
Tell me, Thelma, what do you really know about vampires?
I saw one and he saw me. I watched him hunt and kill. I saw his terrible wounds heal as his victim died. And then I knew I was saved.
You mean you actually saw a vampire? Here in London?
Yes. And it has been the answer to my pain. I must drink and kill to regenerate my decaying body. I am a vampire too.
You have no idea what problems your claim could cause if heard by the wrong people, Miss Howcroft. You must stop this nonsense now.
Why fear the truth? Strange things live in the dark, Dr. Reed. Strange and ancient beings that were here before this island even had a name.
Tell me, Thelma, why do you feel so attached to Mr. Elwood? Why him?
I'm not sure, Doctor. I think we have a bond of some sort. We've both suffered so much. He's the only mortal I find interesting.
Do you plan to make him a vampire too?
Of course not. How could I inflict my curse on anybody else? I'm not that cruel, Doctor.
Would you say you and Mr. Elwood are romantically involved?
No. No, Thomas is a delicate soul. Even though he disguises it. But I am not the woman he needs. No, for I am a vampire, Doctor.
I have made inquiries about the men who were tracking you, Miss Howcroft.
I did not expect a mortal to have this sort of courage. Speak, Doctor. Why are they hunting me down?
It was a misunderstanding. These hunters were in fact looking for a very different creature, but they mistakenly put their sights on you.
I knew it. I have become undone. Those hunters have discovered me, but they don't know what I'm capable of.
If you'll accept some advice from a petty mortal, I think you should assume a low profile and just quietly disappear into the shadows.
You are right. And you have served me well, mortal. Take this as a reward for your time. Perhaps I will allow you to drink deep of my blood. One day.
Thank you. I'll keep that proposition in mind. I'll leave you, Mistress of the Dark, to your nocturnal activities.
I wonder what your last thoughts would be, sir.
Good evening, Nurse Hawkins.
Good evening, Dr. Reed.
Goodbye. Good evening, Mr. Goswick.
I'm okay.
Do you need any help?
I'm afraid I may, sir. I don't mean to be a burden.
You are not a burden, sir. Healing you is my responsibility.
And you have my gratitude for that.
I have to go now, sir.
Good evening, sir. Doctor.
When I get back... Hey, Doc.
You're lucky to be alive, Mr. Cox. I hope you're starting to take better care of yourself.
This place is full of sickness and decay. How could I get better in such a dump?
Consider yourself lucky that I'm treating all of my patients equally. But don't push your luck.
Don't play the innocent with me. I'm sure you have good reasons to act this way. And also weaknesses that can be exploited.
I'll leave you for now. Good evening, Milton.
Good evening.
I have some good news, Milton.
What? The epidemic's over?
I retrieved your wallet with all the money and a certain picture.
Well, yeah, Pippa Hawkins is my girl. So what? Is it the difference of skin color that bothers you?
Not at all, Milton.
Good. Please, take this money anyway. To remind you to keep your mouth shut. Not everybody is as broad-minded as you, Dr. Reed.
Why do you have such a mediocre reputation among your colleagues, Milton?
Fuck them. Nobody knows the horrors I've seen since working here. This city was sick long before the epidemic, Dr. Reed.
I know it's a difficult task, but correct me if I'm wrong. Is this not the job you are paid to do?
I've seen babies left to die while their brothers were properly fed. Underage girls and boys sold to all manner of perverts.
I'm sorry, I don't know what to say.
Yeah, exactly. We lack words. So excuse me if I don't look on the bright side of life.
What's going on between you and Nurse Hawkins?
Pippa's tired. Tired of all this shit. Tired of all those corpses piling up. She's as depressed as I am.
During the war, I witnessed a few couples just like you come together in difficult circumstances. It can be very damaging.
Maybe you're right. But we support each other. And that's all that matters.
You do realize you could both get fired. Hospital staff are not meant to have intimate relationships with one another.
Come on, Dr. Reed. Do you know how many rules are broken in this hospital every day just to keep it running? There's nothing wrong with what we're doing.
I'd like to see your goods.
Wise choice, Dr. Reed. A reliable gun is what everybody needs these days. Perhaps I should.
Good evening, Nurse Brannick.
Good evening.
Tell me what Dr. Tippett did. I know his mistake caused a patient's death.
If I had not covered up his error, Dr. Tippett would have been fired from this hospital. I could not let that happen.
You can't allow your emotions to dictate your conduct concerning patients, Nurse Brannick.
Look around you, Dr. Reed. Do you really think we can afford to lose a brilliant practitioner like Dr. Tippett's in our situation?
I can't say I approve of what you did. But as a field surgeon, I know that some situations require you to bend the rules.
I'm not proud of what I've done, but to contain the epidemic must be our priority, so we can't afford to lose Dr. Tippett's.
Goodbye, nurse. Good evening, Dr. Timmons.
Dr. Reed,
Corcoran, I want you to tell me about Mr. Connor. How did he die? What happened?
he was my patient. He died because of my mistake. That's the blunt truth.
What was the nature of the mistake?
It was a twofold error. My diagnosis was wrong, and the administered dosage was too strong.
Who was this patient?
I don't know. Some sick man from...
Why not stop practicing?
Are you mad? I killed that man, I admit it, and it won't happen again. I have saved so many lives since then.
I will cover for you, Dr. Tippett, by keeping what happened to Mr. Connor to myself.
I don't know what to say, actually. I can't exactly force you to become my accomplice.
You didn't force me. This is my decision to make. I believe you're still of use to the hospital, considering the situation.
Then I can make you this promise. As soon as the epidemic is eradicated, I will resign.
Goodbye, Dr. Tippett. Good evening, Nurse Brannigan.
Good evening, Doctor.
Goodbye, now.
We are horrific liars.
But in the circumstances, I'm willing to give you the benefit
Finally,
of the
you've
doubt.
returned, Doctor. Did you find anything of value?
Yes, nurse.
You've worked your first miracle, Doctor. Now, this patient here needs immediate treatment.
Duty calls. When the storm has passed, I'll show you how to mix the remedy yourself with the same basic ingredients.
Many thanks, Doctor. When you've finished, you ought to report to Dr. Swansea in his office. He's been looking for you. Seemed pressing.
But in the circumstances, I'm willing to give you the benefit of the doubt.
Good evening, Mr.
I'm okay.
How painful is your throat, Mr. Goswick?
So painful overall.
I have to go now.
Good evening, sir. Doctor.
You always knew the words to calm the children. As for me, what a blunder.
Please, Jonathan, come in. Fascinating, is it not? In the last decade, so many mysteries have been brought to light with our microscopes. The human body, biology's penultimate frontier. The more we explore its boundaries, the less we're able to trace a clear line between life and death. You, my friend, have a foot in both countries. The view must be vertiginous.
It's at least as vertiginous as chatting about vampires with you, I would say.
This must be all so new to you. This area of town, the hospital, a brand new life. How stimulating it must be.
I wish I could share your enthusiasm, Dr. Swansea, but my condition defies scientific categorization. Undead? Unalive? Immortality defies logic.
I cannot express my thrill at this serendipitous turn of events. The world's most eminent specialist in blood transfusions, a vampire. One might say a gift from heaven.
It may seem strange, but your words have brought me some comfort here.
Forgive me. I've been an admirer of your work for a long time, and now you are so much more than a brilliant physician. And please, call me Edgar.
I'm not some doe-eyed student, Edgar. I understand we both have something to gain from this relationship.
Very well. I have a task for you, Jonathan. Something that will require all your newfound skills.
Please, go on.
The Pembroke only survives through the generosity of our benefactors. Unfortunately, our main donor has found herself in a bit of a bind. Now, if you could help her out...
A spokesman or politician is what you need. That's not my calling. And until I come to understand what has happened to me, I require discretion.
Discretion is in order, Jonathan. Lady Ashbury has recently received rather indelicate correspondence that, if revealed, would jeopardize her position.
And you would like me to eradicate this threat?
By the stole, of course not. I would just like you to pay her a visit. Her ladyship is certainly near the tents outside, tending the sick. You can't miss her. Look for someone impossibly delicate.
Accepted. I'll see what kind of trouble Lady Ashbury is in.
Do you need something?
I have just...
Then ask...
You mentioned... That explains your...
I feel it wasn't mere...
Yet you...
The Brotherhood...
Since you seem quite the expert on vampires, what could you tell me about my condition and how it came about?
As men of science, our first step is always to start with what we know. Forget the myths, the hackneyed scrawlings, and the penny dreadfuls. They do not scratch the surface of the truth you now find yourself in.
Must I take a life to live?
You are a vampire. You feed, and blood is the sole sustenance that can sustain your immortal frame. And only a living creature contains the nourishment you require.
The sun. The morning following my transformation. Its rays burned me. There was pain, smoke, and my skin blackened.
You will find there is very little that can kill a vampire, my friend. You have been offered relative immortality. The sun will most certainly hurt you, leaving you weakened and damaged, but it will not destroy you.
The man we pursued and slew in the canning factory.
He was a Skald, technically speaking. The debate rages as to their classification. Some think them a subspecies of vampire, others something else.
How do Skalds come into existence?
The name means slave. The etymology may indicate that they are a lesser species of vampire. From what I know, vampires tend to despise them.
Just for clarity, what differences are there between myself and a Skald?
A Skald is easier to eliminate, Jonathan, even if they remain formidable foes for the unprepared. Vampires... Now, vampires exist beyond the mortal realm.
Since I'm the one working for you, what should I know about Pembroke Hospital?
Well, for many years, we have been the only medical facility in this part of town that people can rely on. We support the community here, as well as provide health care.
Where do we stand today?
Well, to be honest, we cope on a day-to-day basis. The first wave of the Spanish flu last summer took us by surprise. We lack many of the basic necessities needed.
What do you expect of me?
What we need is hope. You were a soldier. This is a war. This white coat's still a uniform. We fight to help the poor, the sick of the East End, the forgotten.
We'll see each other. Good evening, Nurse Hawkins. Pepper, I know you're very close to Milton Hooks.
Yes. Milton Hooks is my man. If you want to report me for that, just feel free, Doctor.
I have no intention of reporting you, Nurse Hawkins. But are you aware of the risks?
The rules say I won't be allowed to work as a nurse anymore. But here at the Pembroke, We break rules all the time.
Is he worth the risk?
Hey, I'm no perfect woman, and Milton is not the finest bloke. But we do our best to get by. That's all any of us can hope for nowadays.
Good. It's locked, all right. Good evening.
Good evening.
Pepper, are you sure you want to leave this hospital?
To become a nurse was a little girl's dream. But in the end, I don't feel that useful. I want more. I want to make things change.
You should be proud of what you've achieved. This hospital represents hope for many people in need of help.
Maybe you're right. But at the moment, I feel like we're just a cemetery waiting room.
What steps are you prepared to take to feel more useful?
I don't know yet. My sister believes that the real fight is in the streets nowadays. Maybe she's right. Maybe this is what I must do.
If you feel that saving lives is not useful enough, perhaps it means that you've lost faith.
On the contrary, my faith has never been stronger. Maybe we are all just too proud to face up to the fact that science cannot compete with God.
And what about Milton Hooks? Does he share your point of view?
For Milton, any change means more comfort and more peace. I disagree.
Goodbye, Nassau.
Blaming me will not further your agenda, sir. How long's it going to take to fix me?
The flu took my dear wife, Emily. I take comfort knowing we'll soon be together again.
Mr. Rainfield, that's no way to talk. You're in good hands here, and we'll be up again soon enough. Now do me a kindness and get some sleep. I'll be back round later.
Your words are kind, the blessings of an angel. You're the sweet, sweet Lady of Mercy.
Good evening, Dr. Reed. It's a pleasure to see you again. You seem surprised. Dr. Swansea has brought me up to speed concerning your recent appointment to Pembroke Hospital.
You're a the lady who saved me that night, before vanishing into thin air. I remember you from the pub with Dr. Swansea.
Indeed. Allow me to introduce myself formally this time. My name is Lady Ashbury. I remember you well, in spite of the brevity of our encounter.
Apologies. You've taken me by surprise. I'm very happy to see you.
The pleasure is mine, Doctor.
I hope you're more disposed to answer my questions now.
You must have countless questions, but our rather urgent matter first. Swansea has explained. My cover, if you prefer, has been compromised.
Have any of the patients given you trouble?
These poor souls have so little left to live for.
The world would be a better place if...
You make me blush.
Dr. Swansea has commissioned me to be your agent in this matter. You could start by explaining what's amiss.
These past insufferable weeks, I've been the victim of extortion. I've made a first payment, but the blackmailer grows greedy. I must refuse his most recent demands.
What are your expectations? Please be precise.
As the newly appointed surgeon of this hospital, you are in an excellent position to ask innocent questions and deftly learn the identity of my blackmailer.
Who would be so foolish as to threaten you? A kindred spirit.
Even if it were the case, and I highly doubt it, a vampire would have asked for something more valuable than money. My suspicions lean toward a patient or their family.
If we're dealing with an ordinary criminal, surely you've the means to deal with it yourself, if I may.
As immortal tradition doth dictate, all fangs and hypnotic eyes ablaze, the blood would run like a river. That's what I hope to avoid. Violence has a tendency to spiral out of control.
Please continue. Every detail is essential. I'm your man.
My embarrassment in this matter is eclipsed only by my shame at having put the hospital at risk. The threat from our anonymous scoundrel is clear. A list of dates. My visits coinciding with the dates of suspicious patient deaths due to massive blood loss.
Is it true?
Now aren't you the blunt one?
Excuse my impertinence, your ladyship. This is not an interrogation. I assure you that this line of questioning is in your best interest.
In all honesty, I'm not simply a patron to the hospital. My visits serve a dual purpose. Dr. Swansea has been treating my condition with a revolutionary technique of blood transfusion. It seems you are a specialist in the domain.
I'll take care of it. Do you know where I should start?
If that was the case, I'd settle the matter myself. You could talk to our local gossip, Harriet Jones. Not a pin drops here without her hearing about it.
I'll meet that woman now.
My life, as others know, is in your hands, Dr. Reed.
What is this? Who are you?
There's no need for alarm, madam. I'm Dr. Reed.
Preposterous. Dr. Reed, you say?
Please, calm down, madam. I assure you that I am highly qualified. I'm just back from war duty.
How brave. Threatening an old defenseless woman. You know how long I've been a patient here? You've picked the wrong fight. I'm Harriet Jones.
Harriet Jones? Indeed. I've been meaning to have a chat with you. You know what goes on here better than any other patient, I gather.
Oh, better than any...
I heard there have been some despicable goings-on. Was there a case of blackmail?
Blackmail? Wait. You're investigating something. This isn't a social call. One of those incompetent cunts slit a poor sod's vein.
If I didn't know better, Miss Jones, I'd be inclined to say you enjoy this type of idle gossip.
God's honest truth, Doctor. It's just the way it is here. Most of these bitches would let you freeze to death before getting you a blanket.
You seem to know more about the goings-on here than anyone else. Beware, Miss Jones, in case suspicion should fall on you.
That's it. Blame the old and infirm. I see those little bitches' greedy little eyes. Just waiting for me to pop off they are.
I assure you, madam, this is not an investigation into a possible medical error.
Debauchery, then? Nurses Crane, Hawkins, Brannigans, whores, all of them. They can't keep their legs shut. I've seen them scratching slutty sores.
Really? Well, if you have irrefutable proof, I'll not have the staff behaving in such a manner here.
This is your business, Doctor, not mine. But I swear one of the nurses is cavorting with some man on hospital hours.
Thank you for your time, Miss Jones.
You've given me something to go on. See you on the next round.
The patients and staff might know something. I'll start my investigation with them.